Good evening, race fans. Welcome here to Kentucky for tonight's Kentucky 150. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me up in the booth tonight is Chris Wright. Chris, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Been a crazy busy week. Ready to get to some racing tonight in Kentucky. How you doing there, Robert? And what are you expecting to see here?
Yeah, doing pretty well, my friend. Looking forward to this one. Kentucky, a racetrack that has a lot of history for me myself. This is where I made my first iRacing league start back in the day. So let's take a quick gander at the track map and see what we got to deal with here tonight. So we take a look in down at Sparta, Kentucky is where we find the Kentucky Speedway. 1.5 miles in length. Turns with banking between 14 and 17 degrees. Should be a lot of side-by-side action. Going to be tough, I think, as well to complete these passes without just a little bit of aggression. So we'll see what these drivers have in store for us here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, it should be pretty exciting. It's a mile and a half that NASCAR doesn't race at anymore, but this is the updated version of Kentucky, so it's going to be a little bit wider and not interesting to see what happens to these guys' right front here on the long run.
As we take a look at the starting grid, once again, the pole sitter is Chase Cabry alongside Ethan Burrell on the front row. Row number 2, Tate Lytle and Tyler Fode, with Chad Frankenfield and David Tooker making up row number 3. Johnny Thomas, John Cutlip, row 4, with Jake Connor and Vincent Isabella making up the rest of the top 10. With just behind them, Tommy Ryan, Colin Fern in row number 6. Matthew Weeks, Nick Massey, row 7, with Gavin Hibbs, Leighton Norgard in row number 8, Jeff Green, Michael Hosick, row 9, with Andrew McCall and Jesse Racines rounding out the top 20. Chris, why don't you take us through the rest of the field, my friend?
Yeah, and 21st, we got Dustin Dewar, and then we get into some surprises here. Scott Crump outside the top 20. We got Hunter Smith, Seth Rawls back there, Gavin Higgins, Andrew Hardcastle, Gerald Campbell, Brent Jones, Jeff Ryan, Zach Evans round out the top 30. Then we got Michael Goodman, Josh Freed, Connor Thompson, Josh Smith, Mark Rebilas, David Carpenter, Roy Collins, Kyle Hanshaw, and then Corey Heim, Josh Robin, Ethan Stanley did not make a lap. Looks like he wrecked, had to unload the backup car there in qualifying, and then Jaden Racines.
That indeed is our grid here tonight as we jump back up. Chase Cabry already out on the field. We still got guys sitting on pit road as Cabry works his way around the racetrack. I'm actually just going to throw up the track map here real quick, just show you how quickly they're working their way around the racetrack. Cabry already almost headed for turn number 3 as we still have guys exiting pit road here. We're going to see how this one goes. I believe Corey Heim did get an EOL penalty, Chris Wright, so he's going to head to the tail of the field for the start of this one here tonight.
Yeah, he did get a penalty. Getting ready to go green here, and I know that we have race picks to make. I'm going to pick the same guy I've been picking all season. I'm picking Nick Massey. Eventually, he's going to make me right.
He might. He very well might, Chris Wright, as we do get set to go green here. We are green. Already you can see the field battling for position up front. It's Chase Cabry, Ethan Burrell going to be battling for that race lead. Just behind them, side by side, Tate Lytle, Tyler Fode, as they duke it out for position. Colin Fern, already a big mover here. He's up 4 spots. Yellow flag is out already. I believe Rory Collins going to be involved in this one. Let's take a look and see what just happened. Corey Heim just behind him. Corey Heim into the left rear. Rory Collins going to send Collins around and bring out caution number 1. He has an impact with the inside wall as well. Looks like he's got a little bit of damage on board that 62 machine. So take a look at Corey Heim. Of course, last week's winner. He's going to have some work to do coming from the tail of the field. So as I mentioned before we had the caution, Colin Fern was on the move. He is currently scored in position number 8, started 12th, so he's up 4 spots already here. A great drive so far by Colin Fern. So tally issued to the 78. Shows 11 on the side of his car, but it is Corey Heim nonetheless. So he is going to be issued his first tally of the day and likely first tally of his Elite Racing League career. Probably not going to get too many of them, but his first nonetheless. Of course, Chris Wright working double duty here tonight. He's also doing a bit of race control work, making sure everyone behaves here tonight, gets the job done without overstepping too much out there on the racetrack. And as we continue to work our way around the racetrack here, everyone just waiting for the opportunity to go green, maybe get a couple of good laps in.
I believe we should be getting one to go this time, Mr. Robert Hill. Looks like everybody's going to be okay after that first accident.
Yeah, I believe everyone is going to be A-okay. Just dealing with a slight technical difficulty. We should get that sorted out here momentarily. Just a brief network issue here. But yeah, lights are off in the iRacing.com pace car. And Chris, of course, the pace car driver officially has a name, and it is Fred.
Who?
Fred, the pace car driver. And just an update, Scott Crump has, I believe, disconnected from the server due to a connection issue.
I still see him in here.
I don't believe you do. He is not on the racetrack. But anyways, the pace car driver was given a name in the last update. It is Fred. That is to go along with Barney, the flagman.
Fred's very generic. Like, we could have done better.
Do you not get the connection, though, Chris Wright?
I don't.
Barney and Fred? The Flintstones.
Oh. Sorry. It's been a long time, man. Been a long time.
It's true. You are pretty old.
Whoa, now. Let's back up on that one just a little bit.
As we get set to go green, pace cars up. Fred going to go back to Bedrock as Chase Cabry, Ethan Burrell about to set us free from the front row. We are green. There we go. Lengthy wait for that green flag to come out. Zach Evans with a couple questions back here. Not sure what happened to him, but currently seen in position number 29. See a battle up here. It is Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle. Burrell on the high side, Lytle on the bottom. That's David Tooker and Tyler Fody just behind them. They're duking it out for positions 4 and 5. Chad Frankenfield side by side with John Cutlip just behind these drivers as well. Scott Crump has just returned to pit lane after dealing with his connection issues, so he will be able to rejoin the field. Currently scored about 2.5 laps down, and unfortunately for him, if he did tow from the racetrack, that's going to be just a little bit longer for him, as he's going to have to see what he can do. We're watching Tyler Fody. He's trying to cook it up on the high side on the outside of David Tooker. They remain side by side as Scott Crump just now leaving pit lane. He's going to work his way back onto the racetrack as we watch these drivers up towards the front. Chris, right? It is already getting a little bit dicey up here as Tooker and Fody nearly made contact.
Yeah, and Fode's been kind of quiet since we left Daytona. He has had a strugglesome season, fighting for top tens instead of fighting for wins. And I know I talked to Fode earlier this week, and that is weighing heavy on his mind.
He did win last night in the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series at Sebring. So a nice opportunity for him to go out there, get a victory, see what he can do to maybe rebound a little bit as we see another side-by-side battle back here. It's Johnny, and it's Jay. It's Thomas on the high side, Connor on the bottom as they battle it out for position number 10. Here comes Nick Massey in the number 48 Patagonia Chevrolet for Lake Norman Motorsports. He's under pressure from Gavin Hibbs. Hibbs in position number 13, driving the Hibbs Design. I just messed up his last name. I'm sorry, Gavin. The Hibbs Designs, number 95 for Shift Esports.
Yeah, and right now Nick's also struggling for speed, and he is very, very disappointed in the speed those Lake Norman cars have this year. Word is, him and Fode had words in the shop earlier this week over the speed in their race cars.
Yeah, I could just imagine some of those words that they did share amongst each other. Probably not too pleased. One driver I don't think would be too pleased with his current standing on the racetrack either. This guy right here, number 11, Matthew Weeks in the JV Designs machine for Pro Edge Racing. A driver we expect to see a lot further up than he currently is. Obviously didn't have the best qualifying effort, but we'll see what he can do. Is somebody trying something different. Michael Hosick up here trying to cook and book on the high side in that Hosick, I believe it's the Rebilas photo number 24 machine. Of course, Rebilas Photography, Mark J. Rebilas, the proud sponsor of this here series as Gavin Higgins gets the outside wall. There's Gerald Campbell.
I believe Mark was at the drags last week, I think. Don't hold me to that, but I thought I saw him tweeting.
Mark's everywhere, my friend. Mark is absolutely everywhere. If a camera's needed, you can expect Mark Rebilas to be holding one. As we take a look, I believe that is, I thought it was Colin Fern cooking a little bit, but this is quite the battle right here. It's Lytle, Fode, Tooker, and Frankenfield all together. A gaggle of a battle for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth on the racetrack. These guys absolutely doing wonders up towards the front of this field.
Yeah, and they're side by side right now, but that is for third, not the lead. Looks like Tate's going to maybe hold. Here comes Fode with a run.
A little bit of contact potentially. No, he's able to get to the outside.
And there's Chad sitting right in there behind. You know what Chad's thinking? How can I make this 3 wide? That's got to be what Chad's thinking right here in the kicking the tires machine.
As we ride on the roof of the Chad Frankenfield machine, you know he's looking at that outside lane right there. He's thinking, is Fode going to come up? Do I care? No, not really. Am I going to go for it? Probably. As he gets to the rear end of the number 40 JD Designs machine of Tyler Fode. Of course, John Cutlip, the new sponsor of Lake Norman this season. You'll see his schemes all throughout their vehicles on the racetrack. And welcome to the battle. Vincent Isabella has had a nice jump through the field so far, up 3 spots.
Up in front of Fode. Wow, that was tight.
Yeah, look at this. There he goes. He's going to the outside. Is he going to be able to make it? Let's take a look from up top. There's the fan cam. Look at how tight they are. 3 wide. We're going to have to zoom in on this one. They are going to be tight. That's Tooker on the bottom. Isabella in the middle. Chad Frankenfield up top. Are they going to be able to make it through here as they continue to be side by side down the back straight away? This is one heck of a battle here, Chris Wright, as nobody giving anything up here early on. Already 15 laps in as we come to the line this time. Chase Cabery does continue to lead, but we are watching these battles throughout. And as you see these drivers trying to cook it up on the high side, is cooking exactly what they're doing and wearing those tires out a little bit more than you might want?
Definitely the higher you run, the more you're wearing your tires out. But I feel like I was Doc in Back to the Future there. I've seen the future. I called that 3 wide about a lap and a half before it happened.
I mean, anybody can do that and call himself a sidekick when it comes to the 15 of Frankenfield. That driver, he is not afraid to absolutely push it. And you know what? That's why Chad is a champion in this league. Obviously, he started the league, so he was here before anybody else. But he's still not afraid to absolutely push it to the limit. And I got to point somebody out here that is a major big time mover so far, Chris. I think you can kind of expect it from where he started in the field, but Ethan Stanley up currently 17 positions. He's looking to the inside of Hunter Smith here as they work their way through turns number 3 and 4. Coming down the front straightaway. He's up 17 spots. Meanwhile, a driver, aside from Scott Crump, who of course has connection issues currently, Leighton Norgard going in the opposite direction. He's down 10 spots here at the start of this one. We'll see if he's able to gain any as the race goes on. But you can see this field kind of bobbing and weaving a little bit as these drivers all work their way around this very tight track. Colin Fern making a move up here. He's actually going to be side by side with Gavin Hibbs as they're chasing down Tyler Fode. Is this another potential 3-wide opportunity?
Yeah, Fode was the big loser there, trying to pass Tate for third, and next thing you knew, he was 3 wide and passed, and now he's back to 7th. And
lost a spot to Isabella as well, so Isabella got by him. Like you said, back to position number 7 on the racetrack. Not what he was expecting as Colin Fern gets to his left rear. They're going to go side by side just about here through turns number 3 and 4. Fode going to take a peek. Actually, no, he's going to get to the rear bumper of Vincent Isabella, so probably feels that maybe working with his teammate is a little bit easier than trying to race him currently, and this gives him a little bit of separation on that Colin Fern machine as Fern gonna lose the spot there. Gavin Hibbs gonna lose out on a position as well. As we look a little bit further back, somebody just had a little kiss with the outside wall. We're watching a battle side by side here between a Leighton Norgard and Michael Hossack. That's Brent Jones just behind them as Ethan Stanley still trying to chase down Hunter Smith. Not quite able to get there this time. We'll see what he can do. I believe Ethan Stanley is one of the quickest race cars on this track currently. Quick time for him, 31.7. In comparison, Chase Cabria, 31.6. And third place, Tate Lytle, 31.74. So very comparable to some of these front runners. And speaking of front runners, Ethan Burrell's actually closed that gap a little bit on Chase Cabry. He's cut that in about half here, Chris Wright, as we are already 20% of the way through this one on lap number 20.
yeah, and I talked to everybody at Lake Norman there before the race, obviously, and Ethan Stanley told me, he said that when he went out there to qualify, they had a little brief rain shower, wet just for his lap, spun out, had to unload the backup car. He said the primary was obviously the hot shoe, but he thinks that the backup car is good enough to win this race as well.
Yeah, we'll see what he's able to do here as the race goes on. Obviously, currently back there in position number 23, but one thing that would really benefit Ethan here, and I'm not sure the pit road situation at this track, Chris, but sometimes if you qualify right at the back, we actually double up pit stalls, and it works as a little bit of a benefit. I know last week I took part in a league race and something you were announcing at Bristol, and I ended up with the third stall in line, so I was pretty pumped with that. I had a good opportunity to work my way up, so we'll see when pit stops do come up. And I'm not sure if you know the current pit window, Chris, but I gotta think we're probably within 20 laps or so of that window.
I gotta tell you, man, that race at Bristol that you're talking about, I think you hit everything but the pace car out there. And as far as the pit window goes, we could still go about 35, 40 more laps here before we have to pit.
So we'll definitely keep our eyes on that. I didn't hit everything.
Man, you hit a lot of things.
A lot of things hit me as we see a battle here between David Tooker and Chad Frankenfield. Frankenfield currently in position number 5. That's exactly where he started, as he's going to take a little bit of a gander to the outside of that David Tooker machine on the front straightaway. He's up to the right rear quarter panel of the David Tooker car. They're going to be side by side into turn number 1. Tooker actually going to have the advantage here, able to clear Chad Frankenfield, coming up on a quarter of the way through the distance that we are scheduled to run here today. Honestly, pretty solid pace by these guys so far.
If I'm Tooker, I'm a little bit nervous about Chad getting to my right rear, because after Indy last week, I don't know if I'd want Chad on my right rear.
Yeah, of course, a little bit of, as my colleague in another league would say, a little bit of beef between these drivers and Chad and a bunch of drivers over the past couple of weeks. Just hard racing, honestly, tight quarters, and it comes into play. But some of these guys definitely do have a list. They're going to check it twice. They're feeling like Santa Claus out here right now, and know that if the opportunity comes, the bumper could come into play as well.
I don't know if they'd be feeling like Santa Claus, maybe the Grinch.
Yeah, and come in and steal all the hams and stuff and all the gifts and trees. I don't know where we're going with that, Chris.
Change that right front tire out there on the racetrack. That's what they'd be trying to do.
Changing that right front, you think?
On the racetrack, yeah. Knocking it off for him, helping him get the wheel off.
You ever see the clip
right now in NASCAR is?
You ever see the clip of the guy that was in a legend car and changed his tire while it was in a donut? You ever see that one? It's like a world record for the fastest tire change or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. As we see Corey Heim right here, he is currently up 14 spots on the day to position number 25. He is just a couple of spots behind our biggest mover, Ethan Stanley, who, well, guess what? He is still not gotten by Hunter Smith. So Hunter Smith having a very solid Ryan Newman-esque day here, holding off that 92 of Ethan Stanley. And Stanley's got to watch that he doesn't push too hard. I believe somebody might have just got a piece of the outside wall. I believe it's Gavin Higgins right here as he's in a battle with Brenton D. Jones, as Mr. D. Jones going to clear up in a position 27 on the day. Let's give a shout out real quick as well to my partner from last night alongside William White. Of course, that's Zach Evans. Zach was the lead on the Truck Series broadcast last night. Does a great job there.
We're wrecking
Matthew Weeks. Now we're okay. Well, maybe we're not okay. Tommy Ryan coming to a slow on the back straightaway. He's going to make some contact with Brent Jones. Still a little bit broken right there. He continues to fall back through the field. Let's see if we can take a look on the Rebilas photography replay machine. See what just happened between Matthew Weeks and Tommy Ryan. You can see the 11 of Weeks taking a peek down to the inside of that 66 of Tommy Ryan. That's up towards the top right corner of your screen here. Still side by side. What happens here, Chris?
I believe down in 1 and 2. I believe it's going to be this next lap right here down in 1 and 2. I think the 66 is going to get down on the apron. It's one of these laps down here in 1 and 2.
Well, we'll see if it's this one. If it's not, then it's...
It's not this one.
All right, so something happens between those guys. We don't have the replay, unfortunately, on that one. But what's the ruling from race control? Is a tally going to be issued in that?
No, race control is staying out of that one. Nobody wrecked. The car that pushed up across the nose of the 11 is the only car that hit the wall and took any damage. We're just going to leave that alone as race control.
Race control going to clear it as Vincent Isabella under pressure here from Jay Connor. So Isabella, one of those drivers, potentially cook the tires a little bit too hard in the early going of this one. We continue to battle it out for position side by side. Somebody just got a piece of the wall. I heard that. As we see Gavin Hibbs side by side with John Cutlip, the EPI machine of Cutlip. That, of course, the team that he is running with in the Road to Pro series. We'll keep an eye on that throughout the year. Keep you updated on how the likes of John Cutlip, Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, William White, and others are doing in that. I believe we're going to go almost 3 wide back here. We're just going to get single filed out rather quickly, though, as Johnny Thomas...
As moving up too, Gerald Campbell.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell up 10 spots on the day. 2 behind him, though, is Corey Heim. As Heim coming up here, he wants it to be Heim time rather early as he gets ahead of Dustin Doerr. One driver that's having people get all over the place behind him to try to clear up and avoid any mess is Ethan Stanley. I believe the tires have gone afoul on that 92 car, the Blue Egg marketing machine of Stanley. He was booking it very early and now going to get passed by Andrew McCall, the driver of the number 84 for Apollo Motorsports, as he dives down to the inside of Stanley. Stanley going to fall back to 22nd and be just ahead of Seth Rawls in a Leighton Norgard. Another big mover on the day, somebody we haven't mentioned as of yet, that is the 8 car of Josh Robin. He is up 13 spots today, which aside from Corey Heim and Ethan Stanley, who are up 20 apiece, That would be our biggest mover so far, as we have a little bit of a side-by-side here. It's Vincent Isabella and Matthew Weeks. They're going to duke it out for position. That's Jeffrey Green just behind them, the 2000 Busch Series champion, with Turner Eye Care on board that machine.
Yeah, and you mentioned Josh Robbins' big gains. Well, they wrecked in qualifying as well. Not a great qualifying run at all for Lake Norman. All they had to pull off the truck was the Talladega machine, so they're out here with the super speedway car.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there. And of course, the troubles of Scott Crump has him 2.5 laps down, but currently what's working for him is he is the first car a lap down on the racetrack. So should a caution come out, he is going to be the beneficiary of that. But currently, it's all Chase Cabry out front as he continues to lead, and we are going to crank it up. And we are back here at Kentucky. Chris Wright, while we were cranking it up a little bit, you had some observations about how the racetrack has transitioned a little bit so far here tonight.
Yeah, iRacing in this last update, just like they did in the previous update, they're always working on the dynamic track and how the track works and trying to get us some different lanes to race in. Kind of the same thing we're seeing in real life where they're trying to figure out how to widen these grooves out. Albeit in real life they can give them more horsepower. We can't really get more horsepower on the sim unless they give it to them in real life. But right here you're seeing it right there with Haley Deegan's significant other running way up off the bottom. All these guys that are running fast right now are running about 2 or 3 lanes off the wall. Well, as I say that, he's going to go down here, and he's still up off the bottom, but he's not quite as high as somebody like Tate Lytle right there running really, really high.
You realize that Chase Cabry does have NASCAR victories himself, right?
I do, but someone's mentioned to me every time I mention that, it's great for them. So I'm going to keep doing it. They think it's funny. People think it's awesome. So we'll just keep doing it.
Oh, man.
It's kind of a little game, little game.
Let's take a little look at the field so far. Chase Cabry does continue to lead the way, about a second ahead. Oh, Vincent Isabella going to come to pit road, I believe. No, he might be falling out of the server, actually. So another connection issue on the day for Lake Norman.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the...
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience.
And we are back. I do apologize. A little technical difficulty there, I believe, as iRacing transitioned from season to season. But we are under caution, Chris Wright. I believe it involves Gavin Higgins. Is that correct?
I am not sure here.
Take a look at the Rebilas photography replay machine, see what happened. The 08 going to come up into Gavin Higgins. That was, I believe that to be Josh Freed. No, that is not Josh Freed. Josh Smith comes up the racetrack into Gavin Higgins. That'll bring us under caution once again here for the second time tonight. And once again, I do apologize for those technical issues. Now you're going to see everyone's paint refresh, of course, thanks to the fine folks at Trading Paints, as everyone comes down pit road for their first scheduled stop of the evening, just prior to halfway. Chad Frankenfield has his blinking like a Christmas tree moment out there. Watch everyone come to the attention of their respective pit crews, see who wins the race off of pit road. Glad we were able to keep the stream going, though, relatively seamlessly. We keep our eyes here on the exit of pit lane. Who's going to win the race off? It's going to be just barely Chase Cabry ahead of Tate Lytle. Ethan Burrell going to come off third. Tyler Fode, John Cutlip, the top five. Then it's Fern, Tooker, Heim, Weeks, and Frankenfield, the top 10 in that race off of pit lane. What a battle by these drivers to work their way off here and gain a couple of spots out here on the racetrack. Chase Cabry continuing to lead here as he's done essentially from the drop of the green flag. We're going to quickly throw it back there, finish up that iRacing commercial, and when we come back, we'll take you through the second portion of today's race. It's the Kentucky 150 and the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series live here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And Chris Wright, of course, we just heard from our friends at iRacing.com as well as Worldwide Technology Raceway. They are partners alongside Blue Egg Marketing in the Elite Racing League. Of course, Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan as you see them on board the 92 of Ethan Stanley. Lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car as Andrew Hardcastle going to come around and take his lucky dog to put himself back on the lead lap. And Scott Crump, I believe, took a wave around as well, Chris Wright, and is going to find himself just one lap to the rear of your race leaders.
Yeah, I just went down there and did some work, did some legwork here on pit road. I talked to the boys
That
at
time
Lake
you
Norman
did
there.
something.
And I talked to Fody. Everything's going good. He said that he wants Tate to quit playing some games, but it felt really good. He mentioned the track opening up. He said you can feel the lane as it gets hotter and you got to find somewhere else to run. He very much enjoys that. Talked to the other boys. They're not having such a great night. Nick said it's really tight, and then it just snaps loose. But Fody thinks he can win this thing. He said he thinks he's got the car to do it. Just got to get around some of these Pro Edge guys and really, he really reiterated that he does not want to play some of these games that they're trying to play.
Well, we'll keep our eyes out on any games. I don't see any sort of soccer balls or anything on the racetrack, so don't think we're playing a game of soccer. We'll see what kind of game they opt to play. As you see the field coming around, turns number 3 and 4. From up here in the crowd, we head for the Geico restart zone. And we are racing once again as Chase Cabrey, Tate Lytle leading us back to the green flag as Cabrey already able to clear and work his way back to that race lead. We'll keep our eyes on the battles throughout. Is Burrell going to be side by side? I think we're about to go 3 wide. Here comes Colin Fern to the top. Not able to get there as Tyler Fody quickly closes the door. Now Fern goes to the bottom. Here we go. Cutlip in the middle, Fern on the bottom. It is Fody up top as they continue to be 3 wide. Fody into Cutlip, Cutlip into
we're wrecking
whatever the hell his name.
Tucker.
Fody up top. Oh no, Tyler Fody and John Cutlip get involved. David Tooker, Matthew Weeks. Well, Fody doesn't have to worry about Pro Edge games anymore because, well, Pro Edge is pro nothing no more as Weeks blows up. Tooker missing the hood. Cutlip absolutely demolished as well out here on the racetrack. He's going to head back to pit road. We're going to have to take a look at this one. Colin Fern with the aggressive 3 wide maneuver leading to this one here, which essentially takes out 3 out of the 5 Pro Edge cars. You can see Fern up into Cutlip, into Fody. Cutlip back down, comes across David Tooker's nose. That collects Weeks and Tooker as well. Chad Frankenfield gets a big piece of that one. Wow. Let's see if we can get this a little bit further back for when you see Colin Fern on the back straight away. He's going to make a dive from the top side down, nearly contact with the rear of John Cutlip. He's got Corey Heim following him. So he's 3 wide. He's actually running on the apron just a little bit there. Now comes up and just right into the side of Cutlip, bodies him out of the way, pushes him up into Tyler Fody and absolutely demolishes Pro Edge Racing as a whole. Chad Frankenfield gets a decent piece of that one as well. I believe he's going to have some front end damage. So yeah, look at the right front of that Chad Frankenfield machine. These drivers dealing with some pretty heavy damage here at this point in the race.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. Aggressive 3 wide move. Goes up. He's going to get into Cutlip. Cutlip actually did his best as he could to stay off of Fody and not make that any worse.
Let's see.
Chad Frankenfield's going to get some damage in this too when he gets into the back of Tooker.
Let's see if we can talk to Tyler Fody here once they process the pit cycle here, because I do believe some of these guys might come down pit road to repair damage. So don't want to mess up their pit entry too much here. This Fody remains out here just behind Colin Fern in position number 5. We'll wait for a ruling from race control as well on that one. Does look like
96 got the tally. It's already
yeah,
ruled.
96 does get the tally. Let's see if we can talk to Tyler Fody, see how his car's feeling currently after that damage from the John Cutler machine. Tyler, it's Robert and Chris up in the booth. You got a copy?
Oh boy.
Walk us through what just happened out there from your point of view, and is there any visible damage from inside the cockpit of that number 40 machine?
Yeah, nothing inside I can see, and from what I've heard, it's okay. But yeah, you just got these people that have a reputation and don't run all the time, and come in here for a race or two and just run people over pretty much. So that seems to be what happened there. I know Cutlip would never just drive up into me like that, and last I heard, we were 3 wide. So I'm assuming the beat up 96 car in front of me here is the culprit.
Yeah, it did appear like there was a bit of bodying from the inside lane into the side of the John Cutlip machine. At this point, obviously, we can hear the anger in your voice at this point. Is it no more Mr. Nice Fody from here on out?
Well, not with the new guys. There's some people up here I respect, but not the new guys that come in here and drive like that.
And before we let you go, do you think you got something here for Chase Cabery and those guys up front?
Yeah, I got held up early on and fell back farther than I wanted, but was running the same laps as those front 3, if not quicker, on and off on that long run. So if I could just stay with them and we can go green to the end, I got a shot.
Well, best of luck, Tyler, and we hope to talk to you a little bit later.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's Tyler Fody, driver of the number 40. Just got involved in that latest incident, and just taking a look at the cars that were involved, Chris, I do believe we're going to see a couple of them still on pit road. David Tooker has worked his way back out there. The rear end on that car still not looking too good. Matthew Weeks on pit road. He blew his engine.
Hey,
And
big
John
story here,
Cutlip
though.
also heavily damaged. What do we got?
Scott Crump back on the lead lap.
Yeah, Scott Crump back on the lead lap. Still a ton of work to do. He is going to be 37th on this restart, so right at the rear of the field. A lot of work to do as the field's still behind the pace car driven by Fred here this evening. We'll see what these guys can do, and you heard it there from Tyler Fody. Not too pleased with the driver of the 96. Is the driver of the 96 has just disappeared from my screen, Chris Wright?
Yeah, big story here. Colin Fern is no longer with us.
Well, Tyler Fody's going to be a little bit
Can't talk
happier
about what
now.
happened, but he will not be with us moving forward either. I do not believe.
Okay. All right. As we get set to go green, I'll wait to hear about that under our next commercial break. As we get set, here we go. It's Chase Cabery, the speed factor, 39 back on the loud pedal. Ethan Burrell sleeping right there. He's going to get a little bit of rear end loving from Corey Heim as we get back underway here on lap number 57 in the Kentucky 150.
I'm gonna tell you, the guy to watch is Corey Heim up here. He is coming to the front. And he is coming in a hurry.
Yeah, Corey Heim, of course, last week's winner, driver of the, I forget what car he's driving this year, but he is behind the wheel of a truck in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, dipping into the Xfinity Series as well, I believe, with Alpha Prime Racing and Tommy Joe Martin's team. You guys at home can correct me if I'm wrong, but former driver for Kyle Busch Motorsports as well, as they continue to battle it side by side. Move Corey Heim to P3. He is up 36 positions on the day after Chris Wright kicked him to the rear for an incorrect banner. But speaking of kicking...
Let's talk about the rules here. It's not like I was just like, Corey, let's go start at the back.
Absolutely. We're going to go side by side for the lead, so we'll talk about that, actually, as they go single file right as we jump to talk about that.
Yeah, right now, Ethan's giving Haley Deegan's significant other all he can handle up
Chase
here.
Cabery.
Yep.
Drew Campbell up 17 spots into 10th right now. As Burrell going to take a peek. Not able to get there, but as I was mentioning, Campbell up 17 spots. He's currently in 10th. Ethan Stanley up 30 spots. He's just outside the top 10. So watch for him to come into play as well, as we see Jeff Green going to go sliding down into the green. He's able to save it a little bit there and get it gathered back up on the inside as Frankenfield gonna have to bob and weave. He's gonna get by, work is his way back into 23rd as that Zach Evans up on the high side. These drivers absolutely all over the place right now. Is Burrell gonna go to the bottom of Chase Cabry and move Ethan Burrell to the race lead. Burrell gets that spot. Lytle gonna battle side by side with Corey Heim. He's gonna get by him, work his way back into position as we're side by side for 6th now. It's Gavin Hibbs on the top side, Nick Massey on the bottom. These guys duking it out for position. I believe Leighton Norgard gonna lose a couple spots back here. No, that is actually just Jeff Ryan blinking on the racetrack. As Chase Cabry having a look at a rear bumper for the first time tonight.
Yeah, I think he's just saving tires. Him and Corey are not going to abuse their stuff here early. Nick is trying to move up here into the top 5 right now as we speak. He was struggling around 10th to 15th. New set of tires is all he needed. You got Gerald Campbell moving up through there as well. You mentioned the Simply Racing podcast, man. Everybody should check that out. And you can hear Gerald on Wednesday night where we race live from Gateway. And Gerald's thinking about 3 wide right here too. He thought about 3 wide, but then he said, you know what, my name's not Chad. I'm not going to do that.
Thinking about it, right? Just thinking about it. Hey, look at this. They were back in like 30th not long ago, battling for position. Now they're up battling in the top 10. It's Ethan Stanley and Hunter Smith duking it out for position.
Yeah, and Stanley needed some fresh tires too, just what the doctor ordered there for Ethan Stanley.
Yeah, up inside the top 10 for the first time this evening as Matthew Weeks exits pit road. He's going to come back onto the racetrack, finally gets an opportunity to get back out there as he's just working it around the apron, just trying to put some laps in. I think he's going to try to get by Colin Fern, potentially, the 96. I think that's about all he can do. As you can see up here, top 10 single filed out. First side-by-side battle is going to be back here. Jeff Ryan and a Leighton Norgard battling for position number 18 on the racetrack. So pretty even on the field currently as we watch Frankenfield. This might be where we see a little bit of action as he goes 3 wide. Of course, Chad wide on the inside. It's Hossack in the middle. Andrew McCall calling the shots up on the high side. He's going to fall back, go single file as Frankenfield continues to be 2 wide with Michael Hossack. Hossack will remain the car up on the high side as Frankenfield doing a little bit of a dance out there. Watch Tyler Fody. He's working his way up on the high side just ahead of Nick Massey, just behind Corey Heim. We'll see what they're able to do here as he takes a peek now to the outside of the Corey Heim machine. We're potentially going to go side by side into turn number 1. They opt not to do so, or the track has opted for them not to do so as we watch Gavin Hibbs swinging it out to the outside wall just ahead of Jay Connor and Ethan Stanley. As Stanley potentially the driver that may take it 3 wide up on the high side if he gets the opportunity to do so. Currently scored in position number 9.
Yeah, and Ethan Stanley, like you mentioned there, all of a sudden Lake Norman's finding 3 cars up here in the top 10. Scott Crump got back on the lead lap. He's trying to work his way through. He's going to need the aid of a couple more cautions. Without any more yellows, without anything else happening, these guys do have the fuel on board to make it to the end. So I think a lot of guys are starting to think about that. And you see Corey Heim, you see, Haley Deegan's significant other, both kind of backing off here on the short run. They are trying to make sure they have a right front tire left here at the end of this thing to race with.
As you see Corey Heim and Nick Massey side by side for 5th. That's Massey up on the high lane, Heim down on the bottom. They're chasing down Tyler Fody. You mentioned Scott Crump. He's currently scored in position number 28, just ahead of David Carpenter and Connor Thompson in position. But a couple big movers so far. Corey Heim up 33 positions to that 6th spot. Ethan Stanley up 32 to 9th. Another big mover on the day, Josh Robin, started 40th, currently scored in 15th. He's up 25 spots. Gerald Campbell up 16 spots, as well as Jaden Racimus up 16 spots as well. Racines currently scored in 26th when he started 42nd here tonight, as Matthew Weeks going to take it pit side once again. He did get the position he was looking for, and I believe he's going to call it a day.
Yeah, I think mission accomplished there in the 11 machine for that tonight. And it's been such a great start to the elite season for Matthew. You know, one little blip here. He's going to be frustrated about tonight. He's going to be frustrated with the way things happen and some of the things that took place. But nonetheless, it's been a great start to the season, coming off of another win in the Cup Series and whatnot. So I don't think this one's going to stick with him too long. I'm sure he's already thinking about Gateway on Wednesday.
Yeah, always thinking ahead is Matthew Weeks. Doesn't hold on to things for too long. Just always looking a step or two forward to get prepared for that next race. And I'd expect him to go right back into contention on Wednesday night, as we're going to be side by side again. Ethan Burrell, Chase Cabry. That's Cabry on the bottom, Burrell up top, pinching a little bit here as they work their way off of turn number 2, doing exactly what they need to do to stay out front is Ethan Burrell, which is 30 laps to go, coming to 29 this time in the Kentucky 150. Again, shout out to Rebilas Photography, RebilasPhoto.com for all your photography needs, as here comes Chase Cabry taking a gander once again. Took a look to the inside, outside, now back to the inside. Not able to get there. He's going to stay back in line in position number 2, and they're going to go side by side for that 4th spot. It's Corey Heim on the bottom, Tyler Fode up top.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. I felt like, you know, Corey and Haley Deegan's significant other, Chase Cabry, were just saving their tires a little bit and making sure they had a right front to race with, and now we're seeing both of them start to move forward.
Yeah, definitely trying to work their way forward here, as Cabry kind of stuck a little bit, looking for an opportunity to get by Ethan Burrell. Not quite able to do it yet, but Corey Heim able to clear Tyler Fode, who now goes side by side with Nick Massey, as Massey takes to the bottom. Fode still going to be up top. Actually, Massey was side by side with Gavin Hibbs, and they're going to try to get up there and get past that Tyler Fode machine, as Ethan Stanley coming back into the picture up here in that 9th spot. Scott Crump continuing to climb through the field back here. He's going to get by Jeff Ryan, move Crump back into the top 25. He's going to look for a caution or two in the late portion of this one, gain a couple spots, and work his way back up towards that top 10.
Yeah, we're seeing this track. We're at the point in the run again where these lanes are really widening out. We're seeing guys being able to run quite a ways up the racetrack, especially in 3 and 4 right now.
Ethan Burrell continuing to lead the way as we ride on the hood here of the Chase Cabry machine. Just watch how close he gets to the rear bumper of that RaceAPI.com JD Designs number 37 for Pro Edge Racing. That's Ethan Burrell just ahead of the Speed Factor machine of Chase Cabry. Of course, the Ford Mustang number 39. Tate Lytle just waiting in the wings as well. Corey Heim back here as well. He's finally got a paint scheme though, Chris. Last week we couldn't see his scheme. So nice to see the 1-8 coffee livery on that one.
Yeah, I think we're setting up for an old-fashioned truck race kind of finish here with Corey and Chase. I think might be duking it out here for this win if it stays green.
Yeah, we'll see what they're able to do in the closing stages. We got a couple battles a little bit further back. Gerald Campbell, Jesse Racimus going to be side by side. That's Campbell up top, Racimus on the bottom. Just behind them, Seth Rawls and Johnny Thomas duking it out. They are nose to tail. Leighton Norgard just behind them. He had lost a ton of spots early on, now finding himself back in the top 15. So nice rebound there by Norgard. We'll see if he's able to gain any more positions. But we're going to continue to keep our eyes up here as Corey Heim takes a look to the bottom of Tate Lytle. They're going to go side by side for position number 3 off of turn number 4. Tate Lytle going to have the advantage. He's going to clear, drop down in front of the Corey Heim machine. Now takes to the inside of Chase Cabry as they're going to be side by side for second. Lytle lighting the wick here with just 23 to go. He's chasing down his teammates in the Pro Edge and Race EPI side of Ethan Burrell as they continue to duke it out here for the top 5. These drivers all under a blanket as we watch from high above. These guys absolutely putting on a show here, Chris Wright, coming to 22 to go.
Yeah, and you're seeing the Pro Edge guys. They lost some of their help earlier in that big wreck on the front stretch, and this is what's left. And they're running up here trying to help each other win this race. If I had to imagine, Ethan trying to leave that bottom lane open as long as he can before he turns down there, trying not to dump any dirty air on Tate. Not a whole lot Ethan can do to help his teammate at this point, though.
Not a ton you can do, but they're getting close. We're going to go 3 wide, I do believe. No, we stay 2. That got really close right there. Corey Heim was thinking about it, Chris. As Lido going to peek again to the outside. This battle's not over yet. And, of course, coming to 20 to go next time by, you know the intensity. You're going to kick even further through the roof here as Lytle and Heim battle side by side for position number 3. They are pulling away a little bit from Tyler Fode, who's now a 2.5 seconds back from the race leader. As you see, Heim all the way down on the bottom, Lytle running the middle lane, and Cabri middle to top there through turn number 3 and 4. As Lytle continues to try to stay ahead of Corey Heim. Currently, Lytle in the 56, Heim in the 78, so 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to swap it around 7, 8, 6, 5, or 7, 8, 5, 6. As here comes Lytle down to the inside once again. These guys not giving up as Corey Heim going to take a deep dive to the inside of Chase Cabri through turns number 3 and 4, coming to just 19 laps remaining. This has been an absolute barn burner up front.
Yeah. Blinking warning was just issued to the 15 there.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield, of course, known for blinking issues. He is currently scored back there in 18th. As we continue to monitor this side-by-side battle for 3rd, as Lytle takes back to the inside of Corey Heim. They're going to get pretty close here off of turn number 4. As you see the field rocking on through, these drivers putting on a show for us here today. They're going to continue it down into turn number 1 as Corey Heim now gets to the inside of Chase Cabri, and I believe he's going to clear him. Yes, he does. Move Corey Heim up to 2nd. Chase Cabri back to 3rd, and Tate Lytle currently in that 4th spot.
Yeah, it looks like old Corey Heim there once again has saved some tire, and he's done the best out of anybody, and here he comes up here, quickly moving up here on Ethan Burrell with just 17 to go. I think everybody else is hoping for a chance to put another right front on their machine. Just look at the gain there and look at him wrap that bottom.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job working the inside lane, trying to get up to the rear end of that Ethan Burrell machine. You can see them right there. The gap visibly closing here. Now 1/10 second, just under now as Corey Heim takes a peek to the inside of the Ethan Burrell machine. Not able to get there quite yet. 16 to go at the line. Corey Heim definitely the quickest car on the racetrack right now. Ethan Burrell just doing a nice job of making his car a little bit wider as Frankenfield continues to blink towards the middle of the field, disappearing from timing and scoring. So if you see it glitching out there, blame it on Chad as he continues to come in and out of reality as we go down the back straightaway. Here comes Corey Heim back to the inside of Ethan Burrell. That's your battle for the lead. These guys continuing to duke it out here as we see a couple other battles on the racetrack. Michael Hosick and Dustin Doer side by side. That's just outside the top 15, just behind Chad Frankenfield, who actually kind of pushing this battle back a little bit as these guys don't know where he is. We see Jay Connor looking to the inside of Gavin Hibbs. Deep dive there by Jesse Racimus to the inside of Hunter Smith. Move Jesse into the top 10 with just 14 laps to go as he's going to be side by side with Hunter Smith down the front straightaway. We're going to jump back up here because the battle picking back up for the race lead as Corey Heim takes to the inside of Ethan Burrell side by side. Coming off of turn number 2, they're head down the back straightaway this time. It's Heim on the inside. Burrell on the outside. He is just inches off the outside wall. We're coming up on a lap car as well. That is Gavin Higgins, who's just coming off turn number 4 now. As they work their way through turn number 4, this is going to get interesting when we get up to that lap traffic. Tate Lytle taking a dive to the inside of Chase Cabery, just a little bit further behind. That's the battle for third. A little bit of contact as Lytle into the side of Cabery. 13 to go, and Corey Heim to the lead. Heim to the lead. Burrell second. Lytle just ahead of Chase Cabery, who's in 4th. Fody in 5th. Stanley in that 6th spot. Great drive by him tonight. Gavin Hibbs in 7th. Jake Connor 8th. Nick Massey 9th, and he's under pressure from Jesse Racimus in position number 10 as Jesse's coming alive here late. We're going to see what happens in this top 5. Is there going to be more swapping for positions as Fody going to come back to life as he's working the high lane? Looks like he's closing down as Burrell taking another peek to the inside. That was Gavin Higgins on the outside, potentially closing that gap here now on Corey Heim is Ethan Burrell. 0.2 of a second, 11 laps to go here, Chris Wright. We are getting down to the late stages of this one.
Yeah, getting down to the late stages, and now we have our new leader. Ethan Burrell just watching it, slowing it away.
Yeah, Burrell just behind Corey Heim here as we ride on the hood again of that 37 machine. We can see a battle a little bit further back. It's Nick Massey and Jake Connor going to be battling for position. It's actually a 4-car battle here. 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's Hibbs, Massey, Connor, and Racimus all together here as they work their way down the front straightaway into turn number 1 with just 10 to go. It's Corey Heim out front by 2.5 tenths ahead of Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, Chase Cabery, and Tyler Fody. Is Fody coming up to challenge Cabery for 4th. I believe Nick Massey just got the outside wall a little bit further back. Yes, he did. He's going to lose some spots now. As these battles all over the place continue to develop here, we're going to watch from high above as they head down into turn number 1. Tyler Fody taking a peek to the inside of Chase Cabery. They're going to be side by side, I believe, coming off of turn 2. No, Fody not quite able to get there. Coming to 8 to go this time. It continues to be Corey Heim. It's Heim time once again by just under half a second ahead of Ethan Burrell. But the big question here, Chris Wright, will we stay green to the end, or will we get one of those pesky late race Elite Racing League cautions? I believe we've lost Chris Wright. We'll continue.
Sorry, there's some things going on out here on the racetrack, but yeah, it looks like Fody's going to go after Haley Deacon's significant other right here. He is slowly falling back. He's going to have to hold on to a top 5 right here. He must have burnt his tires up a lot more than he anticipated this run.
Now, Chris, the question was, do we stay green, or do we see one of those pesky late race elite cautions that we've come to see over the past season or two? Well,
I feel like the car is pretty tight, so I don't know that we're going to see a caution unless somebody just drives up into the fence, gets hit. I'm going to say we'll stay green as Tooker pulls his car down pit road. He was involved in that earlier melee.
Tooker down pit road, like you mentioned, involved in the earlier mess out there on the racetrack. Josh Robin having a little bit of a blinking issue on the racetrack, as well as Scott Crump. Going to go the inside of Seth Rawls. He's going to work his way into 16th. Great recovery drive by Scott Crump, was 2 laps down, now finds himself in 16th, going for the top 15. We'll see if he's able to get there as they continue to battle here for that 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th positions on the track. It's Hibbs, Massey, Racimus, and Connor as they battle it out. Up front, it's all Corey Heim coming to 5 to go. This time, it's Heim, Burrell, Lytle, Cabery, and Fody as Fody continues to try to get back up there to the Chase Cabery machine. We'll see if he's able to get there this time. Don't think he's going to be able to do it as we take a look through the gearbox of the Chase Cabery machine. You see Fody closing that gap. Not quite able to do it, though, as Corey Heim looks like he's got his sights set on yet another victory here in the Elite Racing League, back-to-back to start his career, unless we see some sort of late race drama unfold here with just 4 to go.
I'm going to tell you what, if we're going to have late race drama, it's going to be around Nick Massey and Jesse Rebilas and that group right there. That group is driving these cars completely sideways off the corner, plowing tight down in the middle of the corner. Like this is the place where if it goes up, it's going to go up right here.
We'll keep our eyes on that as Rebilas goes for a lunge to the inside of Gavin Hibbs. They're going to be side by side into turn number 3. Looks like Jesse Rebilas going to work his way into 7th. Great drive there as Massey takes a peek to the outside of Hibbs. Not going to be able to get there this time. He's side by side with Jake Connor as they continue to battle here down the front straightaway. 3 to go. Corey Heim out front. Ethan Burrell in second. Tate Lytle there in third as Connor going to get by Nick Massey. He's looking to get by Gavin Hibbs as well as Massey holding on to the final spot inside the top 10. And Chris Wright, I don't know if you can hear it, but I hear the freezer door creaking. Popsicle sticks about to be in the air. Just 2 to go for Corey Heim.
Yeah, 2 to go, and now he's saying no caution, no caution, no caution.
No caution.
It's like that old
Definitely
TV show
what
there.
they
No
want.
whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
Press your luck. What a good old game show. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. And we
You don't
will.
want to stop. If he has to stop out here, he's not.
If he's got to stop, he's not going to be pleased whatsoever. But as he comes through 3 and 4, if he sees the white flag, the next flag will end the race. And here he comes down the front straightaway. Barney the flagman with the white flag in hand. It's in the air. 1 to go for Corey Heim. As Corey Heim works his way down the back straightaway for the final time here tonight. What has been another phenomenal performance by him. 38 positions gained on the day, and the only position that matters now is the one at the top of the standings. It's Corey Heim off of turn number 4 for the final time. Checkered flag, Corey Heim. Burrell second, Lytle third, Cabery fourth ahead of Tyler Fody. It's Stanley in 6th, Rebilas 7th, just barely behind Ethan Stanley. Jake Connor in 8th, Nick Massey 9th, and Gavin Hibbs round out the top 10. But it's all Corey Heim. It's Heim time once again on the Elite Racing Network as he drifts it through 3 and 4. Is he going to wreck it? No, he's going to save it, and he'll come around and celebrate. We'll step away real quick. When we come back, we'll talk to your podium finishers right here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And as we just wrap up the Kentucky 150, there is your third place finisher, Tate Lytle, who's just about to be standing by with Chris Wright for his third place interview.
Yeah, I'm catching up here with Tate Lytle. Tate, it was a great race tonight for you. It was a really good race for the team there until the middle of the race when we had that big accident happen. But take us through your night and what more you needed there at the end. We thought maybe you saved enough tire to make a push for the win, but ultimately Corey kind of got the lead and drove away. But nonetheless, a great night there in the days going by machine.
Yeah, honestly, this is probably one of my worst mile and a half. So just to be disappointed with a solid top five, I mean, before the race, I would have said I would have taken that for sure. Never quite figured out Kentucky. It's just so slow in 3 and 4 and so fast in 1 and 2. And I don't know. The fact that someone thought that this track was a good idea in real life is ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like me and Ethan were pretty even until about lap 40 in the run. And then I felt like I had a little bit more on the older tires. It was kind of just whoever got out front. Like Chase was able to kind of drive away from us and kind of control how close we got to him in that first run. And then once he got back in traffic there, he wasn't quite as fast as he was before. So third place, good points night. I mean, I missed 2 races so far this season, and so this should put us back into the top 10 in points. And I mean, it was fun. I don't know, it's just kind of hard to pass, hard to really do anything. The tires, the car was so tight. It was so tight it was loose sometimes. If you saw anyone getting loose off the corner, it's because they had so much wheel into it. They just couldn't get it to turn. But gotta thank raceepi.com. Obviously not here because it's fixed setup, but they build some baller setups in the open setup world. Thanks to Days Gone By, Brent Wentz, Vintage Racing Apparel. Thanks to Dad if he's watching. I know he's working. I don't think there's a whole lot of service out where he's at. So if you have enough service, thanks for watching. If any of my work friends are still watching, thank you as well. I'm sure it's, it really says a lot about how boring your Monday nights are if you're watching me race a cartoon race car. But it was fun. Corey was on another level there, ripping the bottom the last 20 laps of that run, and I should have saved a little bit more. But it's hard to say what would have happened if I would have let Fody and a couple of those guys get by me. So on third place, not bad, and just need a little bit more.
Yeah, and I believe I seen this week, shout out to Brent there. I believe he's doing some double duty later this year. But I want to ask you about tonight here. You were running as high as anybody at times in the race. What was the feeling out there, and do you think it had a little bit to do with the update allowing you to move that high on the racetrack?
The car was just so tight. It was so hard to get a run off the corner on the bottom because you're headed straight for the wall. There's no grip on that right front unless you could hook it just right. I guess I didn't really realize I was running higher than everyone else, but trying to just find some cool track, and I haven't really noticed much of an update since that last build where they did that. It doesn't really feel a whole lot different to me. It might be a little bit more workable, but it still just destroys the tires too much to run up there at the beginning of the run that it's not really worth your time. But 20 laps into the run, it started to move up. There wasn't a whole lot of grip on the outside of 1 and 2 that second run, but that first run, there right at the end of the run, I felt like I was making a lot of time on the outside. So I don't know. That's above my pay grade, but it was about as fun as Kentucky can be.
Well, all right, Tate, congrats on the run. Congrats on the solid top 3. Look forward to racing with you Wednesday night in Gateway, and maybe you can win the thing next Monday night. What do you think?
I mean, I hope so. This is 3, 4, 5. I don't even know how many podiums in a row without a win. So been there, just haven't had the circumstances fall my way and haven't been quite fast enough to kind of assert myself in that top spot. With the exception of Indy last week, where kind of circumstance took that one away from me. But yeah, at least in the B car here, other than Michigan, I haven't really been able to run up front, but haven't really been able to have that speed to be out leading laps. So maybe next week. You never know.
All right, Tate, congrats on the run. Like I said, we'll see you next week, the last one in the door next week, and have a good week here later this week.
Thanks, Chris. You have a good week later this week, too.
That was Tate Lytle, our third place finisher. He's going to have a great week all week long as we go ahead, and we're going to try to talk to Ethan Burrell, our runner-up here this evening. Let's go ahead and pull him in now. Ethan, it's Robert up in the booth. You get a copy.
What's up, Robert? I got you.
Came home second tonight. You led a bunch of laps. What more did you need to get up there and put an end to Heim time?
Oh, I just need to keep the right front on it a little better. I didn't find out till it was too late after Corey got by me that his line was a little bit different than me, Tate, and Chase there. So I started kind of trying to copy his line, and it seemed quick. So um, yeah, I guess somebody to maybe door him a little bit and somehow save a little more right front tire. But all in all, I'm stoked with the run. It's cool having Corey out here. Can learn a lot of stuff off of him, and he drove up and beat us all. And that's the difference. He's a NASCAR driver, so I just tried to soak up everything I could while trying to hold him off.
Now, obviously, you beat your teammate Tate Lytle. So, is there at least some sort of consolation prize there, beating out your teammate?
Oh yeah, for sure. We were helping each other out. There'd be times where at different points in the race, like him and I were racing Chase pretty hard. Depending on the position the other guy was in. So, um, always lots of good teamwork. Always good to beat your teammate, and I beat Fody too. I'm more stoked about that.
You absolutely did beat Fody tonight. He got a little bit of damage when the rest of your team was taken out a little bit earlier on. But looking ahead to Kansas next week, is there anything you can take from racing here at Kentucky to a track like Kansas next week?
Um, they're pretty similar size tracks. They're not too far away from each other, but I don't know, they drive quite a bit different. Tonight, it really felt like we were trying to take care of the right front tire. Um, Car was pretty tight in the corner, especially 3 and 4. I think Kansas, it's going to be more about keeping the right rear on the car. Pretty high speed corners, you tend to get sideways there, so minimizing the right rear tire wear. So I think it's kind of a flip flop from what we had tonight. Hopefully, similar or better result though.
And before we get to your shout outs, I'm going to dip into the Cup Series here real quick. Wednesday night, we're going to Worldwide Technology Raceway. You haven't won yet this season. Your teammates have collected some victories. Is this going to be the time where we see you in victory lane in that 37 car?
Yeah, I hope so. I usually run pretty good at Gateway. It's one of the few tracks I've actually been to in real life, and won a season one Xfinity championship at Gateway. I know it was a long time ago, but um, I think so. I think I'll have some momentum headed there. I've had some good finishes on the Cup side, just haven't been number one. But yeah, I appreciate everything Worldwide Technology Raceway does for Elite, and I'll be excited to be chasing a win there.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in that one. And before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank for making this happen?
Yeah, shout out to Betty first of all. She's tuning in
Yeah,
to every
Betty.
Elite race I run. Yeah, go Betty, and my wife Rachel. All the guys at Pro Edge Racing. Tate was a big help. Took her weeks and Cutlip. We're having strong runs. I was really wondering. I was wanting to see what Cutlip was going to be able to do on that last long run, but fortunately those guys got smoked there. But yeah, shout out to you guys for all your hard work in the broadcast booth. And you're I don't know, have you been doing something different? Did you change your computer or something, Robert? Because it looks good, man.
I did change my computer recently, and I've been playing with a couple of new camera packs and whatnot. So hopefully it looks a bit better.
Yeah, you've been doing awesome, man. And shout out Corey too. It was a good win by him. Always it's been a pleasure having him out on the racetrack. Hope he sticks around, teaches me some more stuff. Maybe I can go beat him.
Well, hopefully you can beat him next week, Ethan. But congratulations on a solid run again tonight, and we look forward to seeing you Wednesday night in the Cup Series.
All right, thanks, man.
That is Ethan Burrell, the runner up here tonight, and Chris Wright now standing by once again in back-to-back weeks. It's Heim time. Corey Heim, your winner here tonight.
Yeah, I'm standing by here with Corey. Corey, you had to start at the back tonight. You had to get that EOL. You worked your way to the front. Did not miss everything. Picked up a little bit of contact back there, but managed to stay out of most of the chaos. Take us through your night, and how did you have so much left there at the end? Because once you decided it was go time, man, you were gone.
Yeah, I definitely was questioning whether I should have went earlier or later in the first run, and kind of just, finding out which, time of the race was a good place to go. And burn the rest of my tires off. It seems like the right front, yeah, everyone's right front was just completely killed at the end of the run. So I knew saving that was going to be a big priority. A lot of guys seemed to be running the middle and like a couple lanes up off the bottom, and I knew that they would fall back to me. But at the beginning of that last run that went to the end there, a lot of guys were just putting a lot of pressure on me, and I was kind of afraid of losing the track position, so I was trying to hold them off and burnt off a little bit of tire. But luckily, those guys fell back pretty much as soon as they got past me, and then the top four sort of fizzled out one by one. They just seemed to be running pretty high on entry, and I knew that there was going to be some repercussions for that. So I just kind of stayed married to the bottom and worked my way up, and fortunately ended up winning the race. But huge thank you to Elite Performance Industries, Toyota, 1-8 Coffee Company, and everyone who supports me for everything I do.
Yeah, now talk to us, because it's harder than it looks to stay that patient when guys are passing you and you're staying married to the bottom, like you said there. So how hard is it to stay that patient and stay on the bottom when you know that there's more speed out there as guys are going by you?
Yeah, it was definitely tough, especially tonight, because it seemed like a lot of guys wanted to back up the entry and really motor hard on exit and running the middle. Like I was more of an entry speed guy and then just carry my momentum through. I think that was just better for my tires, and it, of course, worked out. So I think that was the right way to go about it. But it seemed like everyone in the field wanted to back up entry and power down on exit. So being able to roll that momentum on the bottom and carry it off was really tough. Just like Dover last week, I felt like I wasn't big on the short runs. I just really drive this thing off of feel. I'm not huge on the speed side. Like I think I was like 20th in practice or something. I just really struggle on the short run. So luckily I got another green flag run to the end and had a lot of tire left.
All right, one more question here for you, Corey, and we're going to have to give you an EOL next week, or we finally going to get this thing straightened around. You can qualify up front and maybe dominate one of these races.
Yeah, I'm a mess on that side of things. I need to clear it up. But once again, like I mean, even if I did start up front, I don't really qualify well, and I feel like the long runs are my strong suit. So got to get better on the short run side of things, and if not, hope that it goes green again.
All right, Corey, congrats on the win. We look forward to seeing you next week and seeing you start somewhere up towards the front next week.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
That was Corey Heim, your race winner once again in back-to-back weeks. And Chris, some final thoughts from you here at Kentucky after what was a fantastic Kentucky 150.
Well, you can't give this race a fantastic grade because of what happened there in the middle with the big wreck and whatnot. But outside of that, it was a great race. We got to see the lanes move around, got to see two long runs, broke up just about right in the middle. Got to see some comers and goers, some guys who had trouble. Scott Crump drove all the way back to the top 15. We talked about Corey started all the way out back. Ethan Stanley started all the way out back. He's going to finish in 6th. Jesse Racimus going to come home with the top 10 there tonight as well. A lot of guys who started out back. Josh Robbie, even 40th to 16th. Can't say anything bad about that run. We did have some guys, Tooker and Weeks, and some of those guys got caught up in somebody else's mess there that was unfortunate. But outside of that, it was a great race. Loved seeing the track move around. Loved seeing the different lanes. Doesn't sound like the drivers were too concerned with the different lanes as much as they were how tight they were. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But always fun getting to broadcast the race with you down here, Robert. Always fun getting to work with everybody at ERN, everybody from the top down. And some things went on this week. I just want to give a shout out to everyone, including Dave has done. And hopefully we'll see if he continues to do in the future. But if not, it's going to be different. But it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get to the next race.
Yeah, it was a good race here tonight. Congratulations to Corey Heim on the victory, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night with the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series doubleheader at IRP. It was due to run last week, but unfortunately, due to iRacing's update, we weren't able to run. We look forward to you joining us right here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Elite Racing Network. Have a good night, everybody.